Architects sometimes joke there are three unwritten rules for building in New York City. First, add to the skyline, don't ruin it. Second, bring substance, not just style. And third, whatever you do, don't block the Empire State Building. But one tower seems to break all three. This is 262 Fifth Avenue, an ultra-slender skyscraper rising 860 feet above Midtown Manhattan. From the wrong angle, it nearly erases one of the world's most recognizable landmarks. Some say it's bold, others call it a mistake. And it could soon join a growing list of ghost towers, luxury skyscrapers built for billionaires but rarely lived in. In a city famous for its skyline, how can a single building spark so much debate? And what does it reveal about the way New York builds and for whom? Let's find out. For more than a century, New York's skyline has been the face of the city, a symbol recognized all over the world. From the Woolworth Building in 1913, once the tallest on Earth, to the Chrysler and Empire State Buildings that followed in the race for the sky, every generation has left its mark. But what made New York's skyline so distinctive wasn't just height, it was shape. In 1916, after one oversized building blocked sunlight from the streets below, the city introduced new zoning laws. They required skyscrapers to step back as they rose, the reason older towers look like wedding cakes of stone and steel. Those rules created a natural rhythm in the skyline. Light between towers, open air on the streets, and a silhouette that became part of the city's identity. Then, in 1961, everything changed. The city rewrote its zoning code, introducing floor area ratios and formally expanding air rights transfers, the ability to move unused development space from one property to another. It didn't happen overnight, but over the next few decades, those development rights became a kind of commodity. The more you could buy, the taller your building could rise. By the 2000s, that system gave rise to a new skyline, one defined by narrow footprints and enormous height. A skyline where the limits weren't artistic but financial. And that shift set the stage for what we're seeing today. Towers like 262 Fifth Avenue shaped not by old zoning setbacks but by market logic and engineering precision. So this is 262 Fifth Avenue, an 860-foot residential pencil tower that is now structurally topped out in the Nomad neighborhood just north of Madison Square Park. It's designed by MegaBuilds, a Moscow-based architectural firm making its high-profile U.S. debuts, with the experienced New York firm SLCE Architects serving as the executive partner. The developer, 5 Points Development, spent a staggering sum, reportedly nearly $300 million, just acquiring the site and, crucially, the air rights from neighboring properties. This complex assemblage of rights is what legally allows the tower to be built so tall on such a small plot, a process known as of right development. From many of the park's best vantage points, and from 5th Avenue south of 28th Street, the tower now stands directly in the sightline of the Empire State Building. It obstructs the classic, symmetrical, north-facing view that has defined that specific panorama for generations. That specific visual disruption, more than its height or design, is why it has stirred so much public debate. The structure is unusually, almost impossibly narrow. Its height-to-width ratio is nearly 19:1, slimmer than 432 Park Avenue, and not far behind 111 West 57th Street, world's thinnest skyscraper. Its lot is roughly 45 feet wide. The 56-story tower contains just 26 apartments in total. This isn't a bug. It's a feature of its ultra-luxury design. Each unit averages 3,200 square feet, more than 4 times the size of a typical Manhattan home, guaranteeing full-floor or multi-floor exclusivity for its residents. Early designs imagined a much taller 1,000-foot super-tall tower, but the project was scaled back to its current 860 feet in 2022. Construction topped out in April 2024, with full completion expected late this year. Although apartments were approved for sale in December 2024, with initial prices listed between $9 million and $23 million, the developer has been cautious. With only a few units publicly listed, the developer has stated sales will begin when the timing is right, a common strategy in the high-end market to avoid launching into a soft or saturated environment and to maximize pricing power. Whether it fills up or if it becomes another collection of empty safe deposit boxes in the sky remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, this single tower has already permanently changed how millions of people see New York's skyline. Building something this thin, what engineers call a high slenderness ratio structure, is one of the hardest challenges in modern architecture. The primary enemy is not gravity, it's wind. 262 Fifth Avenue is built from high-strength reinforced concrete, which provides more mass and stiffness against wind than steel would on its own. Its most innovative feature is the structural core, the building's spine containing elevators, stairs, and utilities. It is offset to the west side of the building, acting like a giant concrete wall. This brilliant layout frees each apartment from interior columns, creating vast, open-plan spaces. But it also makes the building asymmetrical in its fight against the wind, meaning it has to work harder to resist twisting forces or torsion. To manage those immense forces, the design uses several proven strategies rather than a single counterweight. About 2/3 of the way up, an open mechanical void allows wind to pass straight through the tower, reducing the suction and side loads that cause sway. Together with the offset concrete core, this void helps stabilize the building without relying on any publicly confirmed, tuned mass damper. While some reports have suggested additional damping systems may exist, no official specifications have been released. The facade is a complex, international effort designed by Front Inc. and PG New York, with major components fabricated in Italy by Gualini Inc. It's a design of two minds. The east face along Fifth Avenue is a sheer, almost defensive wall of smooth aluminum, punctuated by circular porthole windows, while the north and south sides are nearly all triple-glazed glass. Several facade panels incorporate photovoltaic cells, a small but symbolic nod to energy efficiency. The building is capped by a 70-foot framed crown, an open metal box that gives the tower its distinctive profile on the skyline. Inside, Norm Architects created minimalist, Scandinavian-inspired interiors with double-height spaces to emphasize volume and panoramic views. For engineers, this project is a remarkable technical achievement, balancing stability, comfort, and aesthetics on a plot barely 5,000 square feet. But it also raises a question many are now asking. In New York, are the most advanced towers built for people to live in or for investment portfolios? The business model behind 262 Fifth Avenue explains exactly why towers like this exist, even when they seem to defy market logic. In New York's as-of-right system, the math is simple. Luxury projects can generate far more profit from a handful of multi-million-dollar homes than from hundreds of smaller, more affordable units. The risk is lower, the construction is simpler per unit, and the margins are astronomical. According to its offering plan, the just 26 apartments in this single tower are aiming for a total sellout value of over $400 million. That's an average of more than $15 million per home, a number that completely warps the traditional residential market. That profit-driven logic drives what critics call vertical inequality. Buildings rise higher and slimmer, but they house drastically fewer people. They add height to the skyline, but not density to the city. And across Midtown, vacancy rates in these ultra-luxury towers have remained stubbornly high. Studies by the NYU Furman Center and reporting from The Real Deal show many condos, particularly those purchased anonymously through shell companies by overseas investors, stay empty most of the year. This is the phenomenon of zombie urbanism. Entire floors of brand-new buildings sitting dark at night, all serving not as homes, but as secure, high-value assets. 262 Fifth Avenue isn't technically on Billionaire's Row, the cluster of similar towers lining 57th Street, but it is a clear expansion of the same financial and architectural pattern. Small footprints, enormous prices, and limited occupancy. For a city facing a chronic, desperate housing shortage, where, according to the 2023 NYC Housing and Vacancy Survey, more than half of renters earning under $70,000 spend over 50% of their income on rent, these towers expose a growing, visible disconnect between skyline ambition and everyday reality. These two New Yorks exist in the same city, often just blocks apart. So while this building pushes the limits of architecture, it also forces a harder, more urgent question. Who are we really building New York for? That question becomes literal when you return to the ground, to Madison Square Park. This specific blocked view feels personal to so many because, for decades, it was one of the city's great, free, democratic experiences. The reward for looking up. What's jarring isn't just the blockage, but the lack of hierarchy. The classic skyline had a clear focal point. Now that visual order is scrambled. What's crucial to understand is that, unlike other world cities, this is entirely by design. London, for example, legally protects its strategic views, creating invisible viewing corridors that ban any new construction from blocking sightlines of St. Paul's Cathedral. Paris famously enforces strict, low-rise height limits across most of its core. New York has chosen a different path. It has almost no official sightline protections. The view of the Empire State Building from a public park is not considered a public good, but a visual coincidence. The city's as-of-right development policy means that if a developer follows the zoning code, in this case by assembling enough air rights, they have the right to build, regardless of what that building obstructs. The view from the 26 private apartments is protected by their price tag. The view of the public skyline is protected by nothing at all. This brings us back to those three unwritten rules. Does 262 Fifth Avenue add to the skyline or ruin it? Does it bring substance or just style? And what of the cardinal sin, blocking the Empire State Building? In the end, this one tower is the perfect symbol of modern New York. It's a physical manifestation of the 1961 zoning laws, a feat of engineering made possible by an offset core and advanced wind mitigation design, and a product of an economic model that values a building more as a financial asset than as a home. For over a century, New York's identity has been one of restless reinvention. The city has always destroyed its past to build its future. The 1916 wedding cakes were themselves a radical break from what came before. Now, 262 Fifth Avenue poses that same question in 21st century terms. Is this tower a disruption of the city's identity? Or is this exactly what New York has always been? A place where capital, engineering, and ambition are free to build the future even if it means erasing the past. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. And if you're interested in more MegaBuild stories, make sure to subscribe, activate the notification bell, and check out our recent video about another New York City skyscraper coming to disrupt the skyline. See you in the next one.